The crystal of lineage is supposed to glow. Every noble child knows this. White for combat talent, gold for elemental, blue for the rare spatial gifts that make an entire house hold its breath. Even a dull gray flicker is something, a modest gift, a lesser rank, still a rank. The crystal always gives something. It gives Dale Ashran nothing. The hall is silent in a way that only a room full of people trying not to react can be. 300 guests, every elder of House Ashran, the heads of 4 allied families, and the girl who will be Dale's wife, all watching the crystal sit in his hands and return the deepest, most absolute black any of them have ever seen. Not dim. Not gray. Black. Like the light inside it had simply decided to leave. Lord Varan Ashran stands at the head of the ceremony dais. He is not a man who shows much on his face. He doesn't need to. The silence he lets hang in the room does it for him. Then he reaches forward and lifts the crystal from Dale's hands himself. Talent-Null, he says. Not to Dale. To the room. No affinity. No lineage resonance. The Ashran line does not carry dead weight. He sets the crystal back on its stand, carefully, as though it is the only thing in the room worth handling with care. Then he turns away. That same evening, Dale receives 2 things. The first is a formal notice, his name removed from the Ashran lineage registry, his title stripped to unregistered. The second is a letter from Mira Castle, the woman he has been engaged to since they were 14, written in her clean and unhesitating hand. She regrets that given the circumstances, she must withdraw the betrothal. She wishes him well. The letter is shorter than the notice. His older brother Torvain says nothing at all. He watches from the doorway of the family archive room with his arms crossed and his gold class mark glowing faintly at his wrist, the Ashran flame already settled into him like it was always only waiting for someone worthy. He doesn't say anything unkind. He just watches Dale read the letter. That is enough. The third thing that comes is not a letter. It is Lord Varan's senior steward, with 6 household guards and instructions that Dale is to be escorted, tonight, to the Sable Loop. The Sable Loop is a rift at the base of the Ashran estate's eastern ridge, sealed behind an iron door that no one opens for reasons of punishment. It is a domain-class cursed rift, the kind that resets every 24 hours, trapping whoever is inside in an endless cycle of the same enclosed space, a gray stone room, a small courtyard, a door that leads back to the gray stone room. The house uses it for disciplinary confinement. Most people last 3 or 4 cycles before they are found curled at the door, begging to be let out. Lord Varan's instruction is that the door will be checked in 1 week. He expects Dale to be at the door within 2 days. Dale is not at the door in 2 days. He is not at the door at all. The first cycle, Dale walks the loop. Not to find a way out, there is no way out, and he understands this faster than most would. He walks it because he has nothing else, and because there is something strange about the way the reset feels. Not violent. Not cruel. The loop resets like a breath does, like it is simply returning to a place it knows. He stands in the courtyard on the first morning of the second cycle and decides, with the calm clarity of someone who has already lost everything that could be taken, that he will learn it. Not fight it. Learn it. He begins at the beginning. Footwork, breath, every physical discipline he was ever taught and every one he wasn't, practiced until the reset wipes the fatigue and leaves only the mastery behind. By cycle 12, he is moving in the gray courtyard with a precision that would make the Ashran combat tutors question what they had dismissed. By cycle 40, the movement is no longer something he thinks about. By cycle 100, the loop shows him something new. System, cycle threshold reached, 100. Subfunction unlocked, cycle lock. Cycle lock, the host may pause any single moment within an active sequence for up to 30 seconds. Cooldown, 1 cycle. He stands in the courtyard on the morning of what the outside world would call the 5th day, though Dale has no way to count that. The loop has its own accounting, and reads the message that floats at the edge of his vision. He does not celebrate. He nods, once, and goes back to work. By cycle 500, he has run every magical theory he was ever denied the talent to practice, constructing and deconstructing spell frameworks with only the logic of them, the shapes, the sequences, the ways force moves through a contained system. He has no affinity to power them. He does not need one. The loop resets his body every cycle but keeps everything he understands. He learns what magic looks like from the inside, which is not the same as what the academies teach. By cycle 1000, the second threshold arrives. System, cycle threshold reached, 1000. Subfunction unlocked, thread sight. Thread sight, the host perceives the optimal path through any ordered system, combat, structure, social architecture, bloodline sealed frameworks. Passive. Always active. The gray courtyard looks different now. Not physically. But Dale can see the loop itself, its threads, its reset lines, the way it is built from the inside. He can see the seam where the bloodline seal of House Ashran is woven into the rift's boundary, the family's lineage resonance used as a lock. He traces it for several hundred more cycles, learning every line of it, the way a craftsman learns the grain of the wood before he decides what to make from it. By cycle 9000, he has stopped aging inside the loop. He doesn't know what this means exactly, and he doesn't concern himself with it. There is still more to learn. At cycle 9999, the loop does something it has never done. It cracks. Not the walls, the air itself, the gray hum that underlies every reset, splits open at the seam. Dale stands in the courtyard and watches the rift begin to come apart, and the system speaks for the third and final time. System, terminal cycle threshold reached, 9999. Primary function unlocked, loop unbound. Loop unbound, the host may unwind any structure, contract, bloodline seal, or ordered system to its original unset state. One activation per system. Irreversible. Host classification, above cycle. Above lineage. No rank exists for this designation. The iron door at the far end of the courtyard opens on its own. Outside, it is the 7th morning since the ceremony. Dale Ashran walks out of the collapsed rift gate into the eastern courtyard of the Ashran estate. He is wearing the same plain gray clothes he went in with, a little worn at the edges. His silver-white hair is longer. He is otherwise exactly as he was, except that he is not, in any way that would take less than several hours to enumerate, the same person at all. Two stable hands stare at him from across the yard. A garden attendant drops a basket. Dale looks at the collapsed rift behind him. The iron door has crumbled off its hinges, the stonework of the arch cracked through, and then walks toward the main house. Word reaches Lord Varen in 11 minutes. He arrives in the great hall with Torvain at his right and the 4 senior house elders ranged behind him, and whatever he expected to see when he opened the doors, it was not Dale standing at the center of the room with his hands at his sides, looking at the Ashran lineage seal mounted above the fireplace, the ancient carved stone that anchors the bloodline framework, the source of every noble title the family holds, with an expression of mild, unhurried interest. "You were not supposed to survive that," Lord Varen says. "Not cruelty. Simply fact." "I know," Dale says. Lord Varen raises his right hand. The Ashran flame answers, not Torvain's gift, but the patriarch's, older and heavier, the bloodline's primary resonance, and it rolls across the floor toward Dale like a wave of compressed heat. Dale watches it come. Loop unbound activated, target, Ashran flame, active expression, Lord Varen Ashran, ... The fire does not hit him. It unravels. Not extinguished, unmade, thread by thread, each strand of the flame class reversing to its original unshaped state, the energy dissolving back into the bloodline seal it came from. Lord Varen's hand drops. His wrist mark, the deep amber sigil that has marked his rank for 30 years, flickers. Then it goes dark. Dale turns to the lineage seal above the fireplace. Thread sight shows him what it always has, every line of the bloodline framework, the seams of it, the point where it anchors and the point where it would reset. He did not plan to do this. But Lord Varen just struck him in his own home after locking him in a domain for a week, and the logic is clean. Loop unbound activated, target, Ashran bloodline seal, primary framework, ... The carved stone above the fireplace goes still in a way carved stone is not supposed to go still. Then the amber light that has threaded its surface for 3 generations dims, resets, and reorients, toward the figure standing in the center of the room. The system's reclassification appears above the seal, visible to anyone with registration sight. House Ashran, bloodline seal sovereignty, transferred. New sovereign, Dale Ashran. Classification, above lineage. Rank, unregisterable. One of the elders exhales like something has been pushed out of him. Lord Varen's signet ring, the one that carries the family's noble registration, dims on his finger. Not broken. Just unregistered. He stares at it, and then at his son, and then at the ring again, and for the first time in 30 years, Varen Ashran has nothing to say. Torvain raises his hand. The gold sigil of the Ashran flame at his wrist activates. It doesn't finish activating. Loop unbound activated, target, Torvain Ashran's flame inheritance, secondary resonance, unset to original state, dot. Torvain's wrist goes cold. The mark doesn't disappear, it settles back into an inert state, like a flame that has been told to wait, indefinitely, for a permission that will never come. Torvain stares at his wrist for a long time. The four elders exchange a look. Then, with the measured dignity of people who have spent their lives reading a room, they kneel. Not to the Ashran seal above the fireplace. To the person the seal now answers to. This house, the eldest of them says, quietly, owes you an accounting. Dale looks at them all, his father standing with an unregistered ring and no expression left that works, his brother staring at a cold wrist, four kneeling elders, and feels nothing dramatic about any of it. He had 9,999 cycles to decide what he would feel, and he made the decision somewhere around cycle 3000 and has not revisited it since. I know, he says again. We'll begin tomorrow. He goes to the room that was always technically his, nobody thought to reassign it in 7 days, and sleeps for the first time in what the Loop's accounting would call a very long time. The next morning, Mira Castle arrives at the Ashran gate. She is composed, as she always is, and she has clearly thought carefully about what she is going to say. She asks if Dale would be willing to speak with her privately. She has heard, she says, what occurred in the Great Hall. She wants him to understand that her decision was made under pressure from her family, and that she has always. Dale thanks her for coming. He is genuinely courteous about it. He is not cold, or unkind, or satisfied in any way that requires her to see. He simply thanks her for making the trip, tells her he has a great deal of administrative work to begin on the estate's framework, and wishes her a safe journey back. Then he goes inside and closes the door. The courtyard is quiet. The collapsed rift arch at the eastern ridge is already being photographed by 3 different house registry officials who arrived an hour ago after someone filed an emergency reclassification report with the kingdom's lineage board. They are trying to determine what, exactly, to write in the designation field for the Ashran estate's new sovereign, and none of the forms they brought have a box for above lineage. Dale makes a note to send them a helpful letter explaining that they can simply leave it blank. Inside the estate, in the Great Hall, the carved stone above the fireplace holds its new orientation without any argument at all. The light that runs through it is no longer amber. It has no color that exists in any reference the registry officials can find. It is simply present, and steady, and it answers exactly one person. He is in the East Study, reviewing 30 years of house accounts, with the calm and thoroughness of a man who has had a very great deal of time to learn how to read a system from the inside. He is unbothered. He is, for the first time, entirely home.